Hello everybody, this is Lasse, my friend from Denmark, and he likes to cook bread. Now I like to cook mushrooms, so we've decided to do a joint venture. We're going to make truffle bread. Now I've never heard of that before, but it's going to be good because truffles go well with bread, any sort of carbohydrates. Truffles in bread, bread with butter, buttered truffle bread, should be awesome. So Lasse's going to make the bread, I'm going to supply the truffles. But first of all, we've got to make the dough. So Lasse's going to make dough, and I will probably heckle him while he does so. And I'm going to then prepare the truffles to go in the dough. But once he's got the dough going, we're going to put the truffles in, because that way it will fold in easier. It'll be easier to fold it in during the making of the dough process than it will be to do it after the dough's been made. So while Lasse starts preparing it, I'm going to start grating some truffles.
First step, logically, is to add the yeast to the water. The water is lukewarm, just you can touch it, that should be good enough just to get the yeast going. And you just gently crumble it in.
So show that to the camera. Tilt it up if you can.
Yeah, just a second, just need to get it all.
Remember, when I say something rude to you during the filming, I'm going to cut it out, I promise.
Thanks very much, I do appreciate that.
Yes, I thought you would. So while he's doing all this, with the yeast, I'm going to be grating some truffles, which is the fun bit. In fact, I might push him out of the way to do that, so you can see.
So this is what it looks like to begin with. First we add a bit of sugar at this stage.
That's kind of like dark milky kind of coloury thing.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a mushroom too. Yeast, is it yeast a mushroom or is it nearly a mushroom? It's kind of in between, isn't it?
Good question, I actually don't know.
Now here's our truffles. We're not going to be using all of these, I can assure you, but watch what happens when I do this.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So I generally like to prepare this bit first, then I add a bit of oats for texture of the bread, and we'll just need to leave that for a little bit. So there goes the oats, and this here is some multi-grain, which we just throw into the mix as well.
It's looking like muesli.
Suppose you could call it that, although multi-grain sounds better.
Multi-grain. I like the sound of that.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Well, I'm going to take this truffle while he's multi-graining and I'll grate it on here. Oh, thank you, Lasse. That's very kind of you. Let me barge in the way. I get one of these to grate it into little pieces. That's the sharp end up. Is that the sharp end up? Oh, ow! I grated my finger. That's the sharp end up. So we're going to grate this. Hopefully, yes, that's about right. Into little pieces. This is like grating $20 bills. Yes, it is definitely like grating $20 bills. Do you reckon that's enough for you?
I think that should do the trick, yeah.
No such thing as too much truffles. Okay, there we go. That's your truffles. I'll put that to one side for when you're ready. Just call. Oh,
I would actually put them in now with the
put
salt.
them in now. Put them in now. Come on, you're the master bread chef.
There we go. Fabulous.
I'm not your slave. Right. Okay. Put that in.
See? We add a bit of salt. And remember, you're not just adding salt for the bit which is here. You're adding salt for all the flour that comes in. So you know.
So it's still really got the main. This is almost like a undercurrent to the bread.
Yes.
So this is like, almost like the spice, really.
Yes. This here is just the foundation, really. You just wait and leave it for a little bit, simmering, just a few minutes. A few minutes is
2,
enough.
3, 5, 10, 20.
No, it's just maximum 2 minutes. Just leave it for a little bit.
So if you
Just
sang a
to
folk
soak.
song, that would be the right sort of time. What song would you suggest? Can you sing us a Danish one?
I prefer not to.
I told him I would be unkind. So let me sing a 2-minute song, and I can be unkind to you. All right, I won't. We won't sing.
Nah.
There must be a minute now, though.
Pretty much, yeah.
So now I have to crack a joke for a minute. I'm going to be ready.
I'm thinking if I know any good jokes, that wouldn't scare off viewers. I don't think I do.
This is on YouTube. You're not allowed to say anything rude. Cheers.
That should work.
I said nipples in a video. It almost got taken down. Is that rude? I don't think so. Let's do that again, just in case I have to cut that out. Cheers, Lasse.
Cheers.
I have to tell the viewers I did a treasure hunting video, which is another channel I have, which is all about treasure hunting. And Lasse and I did a treasure hunting video, and I had no subscribers, no views. And what I did was I took this submarine drone thing, which is about that big. We put it down a well of this castle here, and about 4 months afterwards, it went viral, and I got like 100,000 views from it. So for my cooking channel, I want Lasse on to help me go viral and be a major YouTube chefing sensation. Could happen.
Cheers to that.
I'll drink to that.
I do.
Hold on a second. It's time to make truffle bread. You can say that now,
So
quick,
beautiful.
before it runs out of bells.
It's time to make truffle bread.
There you go. In a quarter of an hour, we'll get some serious bombing going on because it's nearly 5. So in goes the flour.
In goes flour, and
How much?
you'll see.
I just did.
This is a feeling thing. You cannot. I know you can have recipes for bread, but I don't really believe in that. I like to just, let it work, and then it's the feeling. You can
So
feel it when
explain
it's
the
right.
feelings. You got because
As we go along.
Okay. So you put about half a packet of flour in there, yeah?
Yeah, and I'll just.
Half a packet or quarter of a packet? Or
I'll put a lot more in there.
So about half a packet.
At this moment, yeah.
Yeah,
What I
okay,
do is
so
generally.
We've had half a kilo, which would be in non-metric about a quarter of a pound. No, about a pound of flour. So Lasse is effectively going to put it in until he thinks that if he puts any more in, it's going to not mix in with the liquid. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say, and I'm going to take it out of the bowl and I'm going to knead it on the table, and that's really where you can feel if you've got a good dough going there.
So what you're telling me is you don't really need to worry too much.
No.
You put in like half a pint of liquid early on.
Yeah.
So half a pint of liquid with all the kind of nuts and berries and truffles, and then he's put in about a pound of flour, and he's just basically stirring it up.
Yeah.
And there's going to be flour left behind in the bowl, and until he gets to the state where he thinks, well, I'm going to take it out of this bowl, it's not going to absorb any more of this flour, and I'm going to then start messing about squeezing it.
I may even take it out now.
Is that fair to say? Do you want to show that to the camera so they can see more?
Yeah. Right now it's still a little bit soggy, and that's fine. I'm perfectly happy with that, and I'll need more flour in
He
it.
needs more. He needs more to knead. I'm going to get this camera and I'm going to get a close-up of this because we're playing this by ear, and the best way to cook is playing it by ear. When you go and start measuring stuff, it all goes horribly wrong. So the idea was about a half a pint of liquid with all the bits and bobs in it and the yeast, and then enough flour to it gets that kind of consistency, and any extra flour is kind of left behind. And you think, well, this is not going to absorb any more flour at this point, so he's now going to take this out of the bowl and start massaging it violently.
Yeah, pretty much. I love this part actually. This is just fantastic. This is.
He likes to get physical with his food.
And there's just something wonderful. I mean, it's when you have it, just the right feeling. It's just tremendous. It's hard to describe. So, I would usually do it like this. Roll it. Let me just get this one out of the way. And after a little while, I'll take this. I'll turn it around, and I'll do the same thing. So it's like a gentle kneading. So you end up with this again.
So you notice there's flour on the tabletop here, which helps it not stick, which is one good thing. But B, it can also absorb more while you're doing it.
Yep.
So you don't really have to go crazy with measuring things because you're actually mixing it on more dough, on more flour. And if it needs more flour, it will actually suck it up during the operation of kneading it. So kneading it actually mixes up the ingredients,
Yep.
gets that yeast, which is the key thing in every corner of the actual bread itself. You see, we could have added it at this stage, the truffles that is. We could have added truffles at this stage, but it would be really hard to get them deep in. So as we mixed them up with the liquid at the beginning, that made it easy. So effectively, what we did is we got like half a pint of yeast-filled water with the bits and bobs and the truffles, and then we added about a pound of flour, mixed that up until it seemed that it wasn't going to be taking much more of the flour out of the bowl. We then slapped some flour down on the tabletop, put out the dough, and then started kneading it around. And as you see, well maybe you don't on this video, it's actually absorbed some of that flour, and now it's
There's
made...
almost none left.
There's almost none left. And now you've got a kind of dough. So, that's it, show that to the camera. So there's your dough.
Looks like this.
Big potato.
That's a beauty actually. And the surprising thing about dough is how heavy it is.
So basically a block of wood, really, if you think about it, because grain is wood. And
I mean, this is not too bad. It's a nice, it's a small little thing, but try to hold that.
oh. But this is going to explode as the yeast blows it up with carbon dioxide, because the yeast reacts with the sugar in here and blows carbon dioxide, and it'll grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's the next part of what we'll be doing after this.
So, yeah, let me just be sure that we've got... Okay, so here's one thing. Now it's still a little bit, it feels a little bit soggy, and that's okay. And when
Damp,
you...
you mean?
Yeah, damp is probably a better word.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that. Sorry, English is my second language.
And it's probably his seventh. He's Scandinavian.
And if you listen to it, if you listen to, it's a bit hard to hear, but when I...
It's making a sort of scrunch.
Yeah, and you know, it's just letting go of the table, sort of. And you can...
Actually, it's sticking. It's sticking to the table a little bit.
Yeah, and
It's got some sort of... Yes. And
It's
it's
a-
not bad.
this is exactly how it should be. It's a little bit like, like post-it notes. You know,
Okay.
you can stick it and take them off and stick.
It's kind of like
Is
potty
it-
putty. We could play with it now.
Yeah.
We could stretch it into things.
Probably shouldn't now. We should
No,
leave
let's
it.
not
We
do
should
that.
leave it somewhere warm.
Leave it somewhere warm.
And let it rise.
Like room warm?
Actually, a little bit more is good.
Warmer than room temperature.
Slightly warmer than room temperature. So if you're lucky enough to have a fireplace, then you can put it there, or you can leave it next to a heater somewhere.
And what are we going to put it in to make it raise? That bowl?
That hole, I usually just put a little bit of flour into it, and that's just purely traditional, really. And if I can just get one of those tablecloths there, thank you very much. Just cover it up, and you leave it somewhere warm.
Why'd you cover it?
Because else the surface gets dry. So by keeping
it keeps it moist. So the cloth is keeping it moist. This thing is going to explode like a dot-com company, and we're going to come back and mess with it then.
Yes.
How long?
Till it's grown to about twice the size usually. Depends on so many factors,
30
but
minutes?
about half an hour, I would say.
So half an
45
hour,
minutes.
45 minutes to an hour, you come back and it will have risen, and then we prove it. Is that the word?
We make loaves out of it.
We make loaves out of it. Does proving come later?
Proving.
That's when you slap out the air from it. Or don't you?
That's when you make the when you make the loaves. That's
Okay,
part of that process.
that-
And then you leave it again to rise again
Okay,
before
so
putting
you
into the
prove
oven.
it. So next we'll be proving it, putting it in tins to bake, and it'll be rising again.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll be back to you to prove our truffle bread. Say reckons the dough needs to be by something hot. That's pretty hot. And the dough's under here. Now you saw how big that loaf was, or that proto loaf, before it started to grow. And now that's how big it is. So that is about halfway. That is about halfway. Apparently it might fill that whole bowl up in due course. But it's growing, and we've got it warm by the fire. I think it's getting a little bit too warm actually. I do wonder if this wasn't the way they used to do it in the good old days. So maybe we'll be getting some medieval bread with truffles. So it's time to unveil the bread.
It's time to make something with truffles, isn't it?
It could be. It could be. I think we did it already. Anyway, so the bread has risen, and at past whatever time that was. So let's unveil it. Let's show you the results of it rising. There you go. Remember how small that dollop was, and it's at least double the size now. It kind of went woo, exponential, and that's what we're now going to turn into the next stage, which is what us English people call proving, and what Danish people call harvesting.
Something like that, yeah. Not far off. Okay, so
Off you go. I should go handheld with this bit now.
yeah, and so the texture is a little bit different now. Actually, it doesn't take much. I mean, it has a lot of air in it, so by now we're down to the original size. So what I like to do here is just basically make this little round bowl, place it, Rice it again, just because you know we've got plenty. Let it rise again.
Oh, rise again.
Yeah, let it rise again, and you know get a nice good shape to it, and then we're going to ladle it with milk, and then going to bake it.
Ladle it with milk.
Yes. So, but let me just get
Yodel ladle who?
No, sorry, I'm not Austrian.
Ah, okay. So okay, it just came off the top of my head, that joke.
Okay, so let's see. Got this one.
So we get a baking tray, and this is a piece of paper, brown paper, and it's already had a loaf bake on it. So this is tried and tested piece of. Oh, what's happening now? Explain to me.
Not much. We're just basically putting it down.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to bake it in here ultimately, yeah?
Yes. And what I'm going to do now is I'm covering it up again, and I'm putting it in front of the fire again, and well,
it will grow.
It will grow, and then we'll see a little bit more magic. So let's give it another 20 minutes, shall we?
Okay. So what you did there was basically fluffed it up a bit.
Yeah.
And took some air out of it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to let it grow again.
I get it. I get it to it.
So basically, the yeast is reacting with the sugar in here, and it blows up with CO2 bubbles, and that's why bread rises. And if you don't have yeast, it's unleavened bread, which is flat bread. Like I said, it blows up. So after a bit of time, after it's doubled, you take it away and shake out some of that CO2. I don't know why, but it sounds like leaving it in there would be a good idea, but apparently not. And that's what's called proving. And so now, once you've taken out all that air, or a large amount of that air, you put it to rest a bit, and it will blow up again. Double the size?
How much you want, really?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't do it.
I'd say about double. Let's bring it in front of the fireplace and see what happens.
Okay, so we're going to get another double. So we're going to get twice as much bread for our money for leaving it 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's a good deal.
Pretty much.
Double your bread in 20 minutes. That could go exponential. Leave it a day, you'd probably have 5 tons of bread. Or it'd be such a big bag of gas it would float off.
I'm not comment on that.
No? Okay. And on that thing. Go on in, let's go.
Yeah.
After the proving, we're now letting it rise by the fire again, which is mighty hot. I can tell you the heat coming off this is enough to fry your camera. Yeah, it's really warm there. So the way this one works is we've got to wait 20 minutes. So I think a nice glass of Glenmorangie will go down just well. So in the next part of this video, we might be a little bit more lively than in the first half, if that's possible. Turvy 6.
Turvy 6.
And that really isn't naughty, that is cheers in Estonian. We've had 10 minutes of raising by the fire. Lift the cloth, Lasse, let's have a look at it. And you see, it's now getting more bun-shaped. It's rising up. Lovely.
Yep, so let's keep it there for another 10, shall we?
Deal. Turvy 6.
Turvy 6. I have set it to about 200 degrees.
So 200 degrees Celsius, what's that in Fahrenheit?
I don't know, 350? Is it?
Wow, you know? I don't.
Something like that. I'm not sure, but we'll have to look that up.
Look that up on Google, folks. So 200 degrees Celsius.
Yep.
Okay. And what have we got here?
Well, this here's what it looks like now, after a bit of time in front of the fire. And, you know, I'm quite pleased. You can see which side was closer to the fire, to be honest. But
oh yeah, it's uphill there.
Let's not worry too much about that. It'll do nicely as soon as it's inside the oven. And what I like to do, now here we have different schools. I prefer to do to make with milk. Some people use water, some use oil, but I think milk gives by far the best crust.
Okay, so we're going to get a milky crust.
So, and just very, very gently. If you push too hard,
you'll flatten the bread, right?
Yeah. So just very gently, and just, you know, don't worry about the amount of milk. And you want to get it all nice and wet.
This is going to give it a sort of brown, burnty kind of effect, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's going to look absolutely...
You missed a bit there. You missed a bit there. There. Oh, that's it.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
OCD, milk brushing. It's very important to get every little bit. Yeah. Don't miss any bit.
Don't miss any bit. And now we're just going to put it in the oven. We can make a little cross with a knife if you really want to. But
yeah, make a cross with a knife. You haven't got a knife, have you?
No, I can find one.
Let me give you a knife. Okay, we're going to do a cross with a knife. Ooh, aha.
That's got a really nice texture, I have to say.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay, so
I'll take it from here. Take it away.
And we put it about in the middle of the oven, so that would be around here. That's where I would put it. And in about 20 minutes, we take a look at it again.
Now I understand that's a virtual 20 minutes. So you go and leave it for 20 minutes, you're going to have a look at it. And then if it looks right, it's right. If it's not looking right, it's not looking cooked, or you want it to be cooked a bit more, leave it for a little bit more. But how much more? 5 minutes? Not more than 10, right?
No, definitely not.
So it's there and abouts, okay? You can open the front of the oven. It's not like a souffle, it won't go when you do that. So you can open the oven, have a quick look and go, or ooh, that looks right, and then take it out.
What you can do though, when you take it out, you turn it around and you can knock on it. If it makes like a nice hollow sound, it's just there. So we'll get that.
Instead of knocking on wood, this is knocking on bread. Truffle bread? I've never even heard of truffle bread. It's too expensive to make truffle bread. So this is supersonic Billionaires bread. Yes. I like the sound of that. Billionaires bread.
Billionaires bread on Clem's Country Cooking.
Say that again.
As a amazing billionaire bread on Clem's Country Cooking. That's ABBCC.
I can feel a new YouTube channel coming on. Let's hit the bread.
Let's hit the bread. And this is what it looks like now. So
You're going to tap it.
I'm going to tap it. Okay, so this here's an important little trick. See, this is still not entirely done.
Okay.
Because it's still
Okay.
a little bit. So, I say we put it back in for a little bit. Just, it's not a lot right now.
It should go doink, 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 thump, thump,
Yeah, it
thump.
should go like.
Okay, got it.
So let's put it back in and make sure that we have an absolutely perfect bread.
So Lasse, how many more minutes for that bread without fong, fong, fong?
I would say maximum 3 minutes.
And then it'll go dunk, dunk, dunk.
It definitely should, yes.
Okay, so we're counting 180 now, starting now. 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. That's how it feels like.
It feels like it a little bit.
3 minutes.
It really does.
This is time dilation. Oh, I can smell it from when you open the oven. Are we ready now? Stop that. Stop that. I'm losing 178, 179, 180. That sounds rather like it sounded before. That's high note, is it?
But no, this bit here was softer, a lot softer.
So
before.
this
is hardened.
Oh, this is hard. This is definitely hard.
Yeah. And let me just show you this, and just listen to this.
It's called bread drumming. It's the latest thing. I love you, man. So now, what happened to your cross? What happened?
I do not know.
What happened? It's not the same bread. It's a fake.
No.
Your cross is gone.
That's a good question.
Suspicious. But anyway, now for the moment of truth, you need a very sharp bread knife. On the sharp bread knife division over there. We're going to get the bread board out. That's very sensible. That's very sensible. Here we go then. Here we go. Right, ready, steady. Ooh, that sounds good. Can you smell it, YouTubers? Oh yeah. Now we can. Oh, notes of truffle. Oh yeah. Okay. Now we need to get butter on that. Get some butter on that. There's preparation for you. The butter is actually soft. There we go. Turvy sex.
Turvy sex. There's truffle in there.
There's truffle in there. In a funny way, it makes the butter explode rather than the bread. The butter is awesome.
Wow.
You can imagine toasted cheese on top of that, couldn't you?
The flavour is so strong, and the smell is not really.
Just the flavour. I can't smell it at all. But the flavour is like sort of supercharged, which of course is what truffles are meant to do.
I'm a bit at a loss for words, to be honest. This here does not taste like anything I've tried before, and the truffle is just powerful, and it is hyper delicious. Hyper delicious. It is amazing.
Don't eat mine. Now this should be against the law. This is truffle bread with delicious French, slightly salted butter, with a slice of truffle on top. This is truffle squared. Wow. So this is what Billionaire bread tastes like. And I tell you, it's delicious.